Prime Property, your weekly real estate reckoner. I'm Nayantara Rai, and this week we're putting the spotlight on the city of joy, Kolkata. Kolkata, once the gateway to India, thanks to this Howrah Bridge. It was the British Empire's jewel in the crown and its capital city in British India. Kolkata was the epicenter of the Indian Renaissance movement and till today takes immense pride in its heritage, literature and arts. Kolkata takes its football and cricket very seriously and boasts of nurturing one of India's most successful captains, Sourav Ganguly. The city is equally proud of Eden Gardens, that was renovated recently, can seat 1.2 lakh fans and is the venue for the 2016-2020 World Cup. That should help in driving the city's economic activity. While Kolkata has been home to companies like ITC, Britannia, Oberoi Hotels, Coal India and PSU banks like Allahabad Bank, UCO Bank and United Bank, it's not been able to attract new companies. Many blame that on the 34-year rule of the left government, as its image was one of being anti-industry. But with the TMC coming to power 4 years back, there have been visible changes. For one, Kolkata is a much cleaner city and today has malls, multiplexes and restaurants that are comparable to the other metros. Besides that, Mamata Banerjee along with the State Finance Minister Amit Mitra have been hard-selling Kolkata as a financial capital. That is as an alternative to Mumbai. And Kolkata does have the building blocks for it. The city has the only international airport in East India, ports, renowned educational institutions from St. Xavier's to IIM and also decent medical facilities. Today, you see massive real estate activity at Rajarhat and New Town on the northeastern fringes of Kolkata. New Town is also Mamata Banerjee's choice for a smart city. To find out what else is in store for Kolkata and Rajarhat, I reached out to the Principal Secretary of Urban Development in the West Bengal government. Here's that conversation.
Highest percentage of the urban population in any state in India is in Calcutta and its suburbs. So it's a huge concentration of human population that is Calcutta-centric. So Calcutta or Kolkata-centric development has always been in the priority, and which is why a large number of satellite townships around it are coming in. I think of Salt Lake, I think of Novodiganto, I think of Bantala, and of course I think of New Town Rajarhat, which has just been selected as one of the 100 smart cities in the map of India. And over there, and in all these places, what we are talking about is that for this huge humanity, you need multiple centers of culture, you need multiple centers of entertainment. For example, in central Kolkata, the Nandon, Ravindra Sadon, Calcutta Information Center, the Bengal Club, the Calcutta Club, all these Ravindra Sarovar, these are all very historical. Most of them were formed during the British era. They are fulfilling a great cultural needs of the people. But that alone is not enough, and therefore, and it is all the more necessary because, as I explained a while ago, Bengal's urban population is essentially Kolkata-centric, and therefore this alternative node of New Town Rajarhat, which we like to say is the Singapore of Kolkata, is coming up, where we have Ravindra Tirtho, where we have Nazrul Tirtho, and so on and so forth.
The Singapore of Kolkata sounds, very good on paper, Mr. Sen, but it's not going to be easy for you to achieve that. For one, you don't have the economic activity at Rajarhat to be the Singapore of East India.
Yes, as I was telling, this satellite new Singapore of Kolkata, as we love to call it, is coming up as an alternative culture and entertainment center. But to answer your question very clearly, you see, we have foci to be more correct, foci in Rajarhat, economic focus. In fact, we have one economic focus is educational institutions, and I think of Presidency University, IIT Kharagpur, Aliyah University, and at least 20-30 educational institutions which are in various stages of formation. So Amity University, for example, is going to start their classes next year. I also think of another economic focus, that is the health sector, and I think of the Tata Medical Center, which is already up and running, the Ohio Cardiology Institute, which is up and running, the Park Institute, the Amri Institute, and there are a host of at least about 19 health institutions which are coming up right away. And the third focus that we are saying, of course, is the IT sector. It's very close to the Navodiganto Sector 5 IT. And it's a great thing that you can see SEZs of ITs functioning in DLF1, DLF2, Unitech. And the fourth focus is the financial hub. At least 19 financial institutions have already set up their shop. So what we are saying, other than housing, which is coming in any case, we are having this very smart concept of walk to work with this four foci of health, education, IT, and financial services. I think that's really revving things up.
Singapore boasts of the world's best banks. Mr. Sen, have you been able to convince any of those banks to set up base at Rajarhat, a satellite city of Kolkata, which you believe is going to be the Singapore of East India?
Yes. You see, financial institutions already all over the world, our experience shows that they come up in clusters. So they love to correlate, they like to innovate, they like to network, and which is why we think of Wall Street, we think of Dalal Street, we think of the city of UK, we think of Singapore, etc. This is the concept that enabled us to form a financial and legal hub in Rajarhat. And while we did start with the focus on banking, but we are game for any kind of financial institutions, and in fact National Insurance Corporation of India, Shriram Credit, and so many other stock exchanges, training institutions of the State Bank of India, and even there is a talk of some kind of a currency museum coming up in that area. So the critical mass has reached, and a lot of interest, especially with many financial sectors of the world becoming very, very expensive. And so investors are looking, I think, of certain banks which are trying to, headquarters, global banks trying to move out of London. And therefore, I think Calcutta offers a very good alternative location, especially when you consider that Singapore and Hong Kong are just a few hours away.
Mr. Sen, you're telling me that the West Bengal government actually wants banks, financial institutions, insurance companies, etc. to leave London and set up their base in Rajarhat. If that is ever going to happen, the West Bengal government is going to have to offer a lot of incentives. What are these incentives?
The biggest incentive, of course, in the incentive in starting off. You see, there is a fixed ceiling kind of a flat ceiling kind of a thing for price of land for the financial institutions, and for the service sector. We have recently amended the rules that says that 49% of the floor area built can be used for residential purposes. So if there is a question of where will our managers stay, where will our staff stay, it can be in the same CBD. We are going away into away from these silos of planning, spatial planning, and we are allowing mixed development so that walkability within the same building. Think of World Trade Center, 100 stories high. Top 50 stories for the senior managers and staff and everybody, bottom 50 stories for the actual commercial operations, and I think it makes great sense. And we are also thinking of giving some kind of initial help in the terms of planning sanction, quick sanctions, hand-holding, and we are very encouraged to see the response that we are having so far.
Okay, so the Mamata Banerjee government also dreaming of 100-story tall financial towers in Rajarhat. What's the price of land? It can't be too expensive if you want Rajarhat to be the alternative to Mumbai, to New York, Hong Kong, London, etc.
Yes, it is about 38,000 rupees per square meter, and if there are certain qualifications to be given, the qualification is you have to be a financial institution with a certain turnover value.
You know, all this sounds very good, but Mr. Sen, has the West Bengal government been able to convince any global bank to actually come and set up a tower or set up base in Rajarhat?
Yes, we are very hopeful that with certain laws and regulations that has been loosened up, in fact, some expression of interest is already going on. We are talking to a large number of people, but I wouldn't like to say it except right now. That would break the confidentiality. But I can share with you what was done just before that. I can talk of Punjab National Bank, I can talk of Bank of Baroda, and I can talk of Bandhan Bank, the latest new bank to get getting launched recently. They have all taken shops here, and we are in intensive discussions with them. But now I cannot say till 30th November.
Mr. Sen, I can't help but say this. Whatever you're telling me, whatever these plans are, great, fantastic, but it sounds very futuristic. Let's be honest, it's going to take a really long time if Kolkata is ever going to be an alternative to Mumbai. Forget Hong Kong, Singapore, London, etc. Can you tell me what are the immediate economic triggers for Rajarhat? You know, what are the immediate triggers for the property market at Rajarhat?
Yes. Well, I'll give you my perspective on this, is that you know, towns take a long time to grow up, and therefore very carefully real estate also takes a long time to grow up. And what is really happening is that most of the outgrowth areas, wherever there is possible, is going around EM bypass and the Rajarhat New Town and Salt Lake areas. And we are seeing a lot of interest, and which is why the government of West Bengal has recently brought out a new township policy. This township policy basically says that if you have A, an economic focus, B, at least 50 acres of land, and C, at least 25% of the dwelling units for the affordable section of the society, then government will give you all clearances and all land ceiling clearances in a great hurry. And these theme townships, which we are building all over the state, 6 such theme townships, each will have an economic focus. So what we are saying now is that normal township just for habitation, just for sleeping, does not make sense any longer. For us, what makes sense is living with a focus, with an economic focus, and therefore we talk of city for the culture near Shantiniketan, a city for the elderly, wellness township near Baruipu, a city for hospital and education that is on the foothills of the Kanchenjunga Himalayas up in Siliguri, so on and so forth. So what we are promoting actually is that you build a city around a core theme, which you can think of it as an anchor theme, and this is really drawing a great deal of attention, which we stand apart. And about what kind of people are moving in now into the real estate places is there are both types. One is that, as the famous book Rich Dad Poor Dad tells us, buying real estate is always a good idea, and many of them do buy houses and lands for investment purposes. Of course, that is leading us to the vacant flat syndrome, but that's another story. But the most selling segment to my mind and my information is where it is the ticket price is not so high. It's basically for the middle income group, middle of the middle income group.
So there you go, the Mamata Banerjee government wanting Rajarhat to come up as the Singapore of East India. A lot of promises being made over there. Is it enough to revive the city's property market? We find out after this short break.